Welcome back to our author chat. I'm Olivia Vo from Savvy Social Pro, and I'm so excited to introduce you to all these amazing authors of the latest book release, The Stories of Us. And we're going to continue on with our second author today, Robinette Wilson. And our topic today is going to be all about family ancestry and genealogy. So let us know in the comments, in the chat, if you're watching us live, are you someone that have always wanted to explore your family's DNA or go beyond the family tree and really dig down deep for your roots? So let us know if that is you and what you have been doing to be on that journey of discovery. And we've got some comments. Oh, yay, Miss Sandra. Oh, my gosh, Sandra, thank you so much for tuning in. I always love seeing your lovely face. So thank you so much. And you come from a very big family, too. So I wonder if you and your children and siblings have ever thought about mapping out the whole Jackson family tree. So I hope that you stick around and listen to Robinette as she shares her chapter about looking for Laura. That is the title of her chapter in this upcoming book. Just a little bit about information about Robinette. I have gotten to know her this year through another amazing coaching cohort called Thinking into Results. And she has just been such a powerful force and a wonderful person to learn from. And I love the way she phrases things. So I was very pleased to hear that she was going to be part of this book writing project. So we get to capture her words on paper because there's so much wisdom and conciseness in what she says. And I think it all stems from her, career training and professionalism as an advanced certified litigation paralegal. And she's been in this career field for many years, working in corporate and government law firms. So I'm so thrilled to have her on with us and talk about digital upskilling. I mean, she is someone that just took this course on because it wasn't just about writing. It was writing and then also learning to publish and working with new tools made available through technology and made available through Kindle, Amazon KDP. And Robinette was one of those star students in this class that just took things off. So I want to welcome Robinette Wilson. Ta-da! You even made your own cover.
Hi, Olivia. It's always a pleasure to see you, of course.
I love it. You're looking very fresh and royal. I love this color purple on you.
Thank you. I like the royal, yes.
Exactly. So we've got some people tuning in. We've got Sandra Jackson tuning in, as well as Diana. Diana watching from LinkedIn. Thank you so much for joining us.
Hi, Sandra and Diana. Thank you for joining us.
Indeed. And you're with your mom right now. And as I know from our other conversations, you are planning a once-in-a-lifetime cruise. Talk a little bit about that. I think that is such a phenomenal way to gather family together and make a memory.
Well, it was a last minute decision, actually. We, my sister, who is my mom's roommate, primary caregiver, had decided to take my mom on a cruise, and she was actually going to be leaving. They were going to be leaving the day that after I left from visiting here. And I just kept saying, I want to go too. I want to go too. And when we called the travel agent to see if he could get me in, he said, no, absolutely not. It's too close to the departure date. There's nowhere they're going to have a cabin open. And I just refused to believe that. I told him that I know that I'm supposed to go on this cruise with my mom and my sister. And also not just me, but my other sister, my older sister as well. And so we just kept encouraging him to have a positive attitude about it so that he would work with us to get it done, that we would manifest exactly what we wanted. And that's what we did. They were able to get us in. We were on the phone with him for about 2 hours, but it all worked out perfectly that all 4 of us will be going on this Christmas cruise together. So it's absolutely wonderful. We're so excited about it.
And it's also like the perfect way to celebrate the release of the book. You can bring a Christmas cruise book launch.
Exactly. That's wonderful. Yes.
Now, did your family know that you were going to be involved in writing like a mini memoir?
Only a few of them knew. They all know now because I sent them all invitations to the launch as well as to this author chat. And hi, Tia. Thanks for signing in. I appreciate that. Long time no see. You know I love you. You're my sister. So not all of them knew, but they all know now.
And what kind of prompted you, to sign up with us? I know that you saw Mila and I, talk about the project, and then what sort of was like your deciding factor? Like, okay, you know what? Now is the time. I want to write this.
Well, as you mentioned in the beginning about the Thinking into Results program that both you and I are a part of, it's a personal development program. And so one of the goals that I set for myself when I signed up for that program earlier this year was to make sure that I published the book, my grandmother's story, because it's a fascinating story. And when I saw the post for the anthology, I said, well, this is a perfect way for me to go ahead and get published before the end of the year, because that was my goal. And although this is just a snippet of the story, at least it's out there and it sets the foundation for the rest of the story. So I was very excited for the opportunity.
I know we have just TIR'd this whole year.
Yes. Hi, Denise. Thank you for joining. Appreciate it. Yes. And you also mentioned that I learned all these different modalities for publishing. And that was another goal that I had, was to learn how to self-publish. So by joining this group and joining the anthology, I have been able already to publish a family history book on the other side of my family. This one is regarding my paternal side. And the book that I have coming out at the beginning of January on Amazon is my maternal side. So I've been able to learn how to publish a book myself, as well as learning how to go through this process.
So what do you think about Amazon KDP now?
I think it's very user friendly. I really enjoyed the process and learn. It's not a very big learning curve. They make it very easy to go ahead and get published. I think the key is the marketing part.
Excellent. Excellent. And what would you say to, other people who kind of are feeling like maybe they don't want to share the family stories right away? Like, what was the difference for you? Did you feel any sort of change in you?
Well, I've been researching my family history for most of my life. So on my dad's side, because it was such a mystery, we had no information. It was not like on my mom's side where we knew family members. On my dad's side, we knew no one. It was just us, my dad's siblings, and whatever children they bore was all that we knew. So once I learned my grandmother's story and I followed that paper trail to see what she had gone through, the adversities that she was able to overcome and how she was able to thrive, for me, that was inspiration to share her story, because it is inspiring and it does give you hope. So that was the catalyst for me to go ahead and get this story out there. I really wanted to get it done while my cousin Val was still here. She lived to be 105. But for whatever reason, it didn't get finished during the time that she was in her body. But I'm sure she's smiling at me right now. I can hear her voice in my ear.
What might she be saying?
She'll be saying, "You have done very well." That's what she would be saying.
And what an honor, she's not here physically, but we have this way, right, to capture and pass her story on to your grandkids too.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So they feel that connection, they feel that tie.
Yeah, and it's a story that my whole family is connected to, because no one knew the history of my grandmother. No one knew why we didn't have family members outside of just the immediate cousins and the immediate few aunts and uncles that we had. No one knew why. No one in my family or outside of my family.
Deborah J. Hollick is chiming in, and she is saying, wow, 105.
Yes. Hi, Deborah. Thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
That is quite a milestone indeed. Indeed, indeed. And then lots of family love coming through for you today, Robinette. Look at this.
Yes, it is. I'm so excited about that. I'm glad that everyone was able to take a few minutes to join us, because it's very important. I appreciate the support.
I know how nervous you're feeling about coming on. And so, just having a few comments trickle in, some friendly faces makes such a difference. So,
It does. It really
great
does.
job. Yes, exactly.
Tia is someone I grew up with in Long Branch, New Jersey, so she's going to be quite surprised by this story as well.
Excellent, excellent. Deborah says, "I'm looking forward to reading the story." Yes, Deborah. When you have finished reading the Cinderella monologues, Live Life and Wow, then you can read the stories of us. Add it to your list. Deborah and I have been, fellow collaborators this year too. Robinette, I mean, she and I were both in Cinderella monologues. Then she did like a spin-off of her own, leading the Live Life and Wow project, and she knows
Oh,
many of the authors here in this book. The stories
thank
of.
you, Deborah. Appreciate that.
So when we talk about us, I mean, this is a very collective, universal virtual family.
Yes, I did read Deborah's story in the Cinderella monologues, absolutely, and I enjoyed every story in the book. I think that the anthologies are just such a wonderful way for people to get their foot in the door, to get their stories started, so that that can open the way or lay the foundation for the bigger story.
That's a great way of putting it, Robinette. And I hope that anyone who is watching this and they've always wanted to write a book or tell their story, that they take your words to heart, that this is a foot in the door,
Yes,
a stepping stone. And to do it within a class structure, I think that's what sets Mila's program apart from other people, that you're in a classroom and you're learning as you go along. Because, once you learn it, then you can just take this and adapt it to other projects.
absolutely. You really can. The wheels are already turning. Hi, Amy. Thank you.
And I think, we're seeing so many comments coming through from each other. And I think that's what is a remarkable result, right, of a book project, anthology project, to bring people closer together. Because once you are in an intimate space, hearing each other's stories, I mean, the relationship is much more meaningful. Have you felt that way connecting with some other fellow writers?
Absolutely, I have. Yes, I have. It's been great to have that collaboration with other people. You don't feel so alone, or you might have questions that you don't think you want to ask, and someone else will ask that question for you, and you get the answer that you're looking for. But also just everyone learning together to go through the process. So it's really, like I said, a great foundation.
A great foundation and a foot in the door. So there you go.
Yeah.
And I wonder, having written this story, do you have any other remaining questions? Are you still following the paper trail? Or
I am still following the paper trail,
Really?
absolutely, because while I've been able to solve some of the mysteries surrounding my grandmother, my grandfather is still a complete mystery. So I'll have to start on his side once I'm done with my grandmother's side. But these stories never end. I mean, you go back as far as you can go at the moment, and then you get the story out there to support the family so that they have the foundation. But you keep digging. You keep digging because you want to know, where did they come from and what did they go through? What did they overcome? You want to see the strength and the courage that they had, and you also realize that their life was a lot more difficult than ours. So while we complain about the first world problems, they lived more in a second world or third world situation than we did. And if they were able to survive and thrive, then so can we.
Exactly. I love that. Yes, it's there are many lessons that can be passed down from generation to generation.
Yes.
So that is very key to preserve as well too. So we've got some family photos that you're able to share with us, and I'm so excited to bring these up because I just love looking at old photographs and taking in all the imagery and the surroundings. So I'd love for you to talk us through some of the photos that you found. So give me one moment. I'm going to bring them
Okay.
on the TV. Who is this lovely lady, Robinette?
This is Laura. This is my grandmother, Laura, and I believe that she may have been in Africa when she took this picture. Um, This is the mystery lady that ran away from home when she was 15 years old. And I was so fortunate to get this photo of her. It's the best photo that I found of her. So that is why I made it the cover of my own personal book, Looking for Laura. Um, but she looks so at peace in this photo to me, coming from where she came from, coming from what she's been through. To see her be so at peace at that point in her life was really encouraging for me.
Yeah, I just love the sepia tone of this photo. You know, you can tell it's old.
Yes,
um, and to still have it, I think it's such a cherished item, right? It's not
it really
glossy,
is.
it's matte, it's a sepia tone. I love the expression of her face, that feeling contentment, like you said. That,
Yes.
you know, she's where she belongs. It seems like.
She's definitely at peace here, and it's beautiful to see, because I didn't go into detail about her story in this publication, but in my personal publication, I will go into greater detail about her life journey, and it's quite amazing that she was able to not only survive through what she's been through, but to thrive.
What's one of the lessons that you learned from her?
I think the biggest lesson that I learned from her is that you don't give up, you keep going, and that things will get better.
Exactly, things will get better. Awesome. I
Okay.
love these photos too.
Yes, yes. So the top photo, when I was researching, looking for my family, when I finally had the information that I needed to do the research, the top photo was the photo I landed on after hours and hours of Google searches. Um, that photo is my grandmother's oldest sister with all of her adult children, and children that my grandmother only met three of them before she was very small at the time. So when I landed on that page and saw that photo, I knew I had found my family. As soon as I saw the photo, their names were listed underneath the photo on the page. And it was a family history, it's a family reunion page. So my search was for my grandmother's mother's name, Georgia Norwood. But then when I came up with so many results, I changed the search to use her sister's name because it was so unique, Valdreese. And so I started using that name to search. And that's how I came across that photo, which was on the Georgia Norwood family reunion page. So it's just, you see me, I have tears in my eyes as I think about that day when I came to that page and saw that photo. It just brought so much joy. And then to the right of that, the individual photo is cousin Val, who I call Aunt Val, because when I met her, she was 96. And everyone that was alive that was related to her called her Aunt Val. So it felt kind of weird for me to call her cousin Val. So I called her Aunt Val as well. And she's actually my grandmother's very first niece. She was 8 years old when my grandmother, she remembered. She didn't tell me that at first, but she eventually got comfortable enough with me to tell me what she remembered about my grandmother leaving home. And I was blessed to have 10 years of time spent with her after I met her at 96. And she just passed earlier this year at the age of 105. And that's probably her, she was probably 104, 105 in that photo, which is quite
So
amazing.
Aunt Val knew Laura
Yes,
and remembered the day that Laura left.
yes.
And she could recall all those details even at 96 when she's talking to you.
Oh, yes. Her mind
Oh,
was as sharp as could be. Her mind was very sharp. Even before she left her body, her mind was still very sharp. She still lived alone until, she was 105, and she still lived alone until shortly before she passed on. So she was very, very, I was so blessed to be able to spend those with her.
I'm getting chills, Robinette, just thinking about your encounter with her. That
Yeah.
she was able to leave some peace behind too, right? I think
Definitely, definitely. She was able to share a lot of stories with me about my grandmother's parents.
Mm,
Like I said, she was 8 in 1924. My grandmother was 15, so they weren't that far apart in age. And she did remember some of the details of my grandmother. And it was because of her and her cousin Robert, my grandmother's nephew, that the story of my grandmother was kept alive for 88 years, because the other generations never met my grandmother, but they continued to pray for her and to want to know what became of her because of cousin Val and cousin Robert and cousin Becky. They kept her alive in the lives of the generations that followed. And the photo on the bottom, the last photo that I'm in, that is the first weekend that I met my family. And that there's cousin Val is sitting next to me, and her sister Rebecca is sitting next to her on the, let's see, my right. So if you're looking directly onto the photo, Val is right next to me on the right, and then her sister Rebecca. So in that picture, cousin Val was 96, and cousin Becky was 94, I believe. And then on the opposite side of me, in the black shirt, is cousin Helen, and she was in her 90s at that time as well. And then all of the other ladies in the photo are the second generation children of my cousin, my grandmother's sister. They are her grandchildren, the rest of the children in the picture. So that was a wonderful weekend full of happy tears and joy and love, and me meeting family members that my dad and his siblings never had an opportunity to meet. So that was very profound for me.
wow, it's just so incredible to know that you had all this family this entire time.
Yes, yes. And there was a time when it was in 2012 when I met them, and my dad's last sibling had passed. And my brother and I were thinking, we have no more family. We're the oldest generation in our family. And we were just so, I don't know what the word is to describe how we felt about that. But within a 2-month time period, we went from thinking that we were the oldest generation and it was going to end with us and our children, to learning that we had a huge a huge family only a couple hours away. Thank you, Amy. I appreciate that. Yes, so it's been quite a journey.
Oh my goodness, that's amazing. Talk about messy and beautiful at the same time.
Exactly. Yes. Exactly. But these family members would have, oh, there it is. That is when cousin Val turned 100 years old, and that was her birthday party when she turned 100. So look at all the family that I have after thinking that we had no family left. Look at this picture.
Wow. I'm
Yes, and
amazed the photographer
all
got
these people
everyone
are
in.
they're from within hours of where we grew up, and we never met them until then. 2012 and forward is when we met them. So yeah, I have a huge family.
Robinette, if you could get each one in this photo to write a chapter, you'd have a novel.
Oh my goodness, I'd have a few novels, I think. Absolutely.
They could
Yes.
all share like maybe a life lesson or something, with each other, and that'd be a really nice, beautiful heirloom book, I feel.
Oh, I agree. I agree. So it's a lot of talent in this photo. A lot of very talented people in this photo for sure. Yeah, that's amazing. I'm
So this
still
is
amazed by it, you see.
so this is still your maternal side.
This is my paternal side, my
Paternal
dad's
side.
side.
Okay.
Mhm.
Paternal side.
This is my dad's side. So out of everyone in this picture, only one person in this picture actually met my grandmother. So this is what I refer to when I said in the book that I um, landed at the trunk of the family tree and had an opportunity to meet all of the new branches that had grown since 1924, and that's what this picture reflects: all the new branches and new leaves that had grown on our family tree since my grandmother was separated in 1924.
Amazing. And the way the photo is taken looks like a tree.
It does, doesn't it? Yes, it does.
That's what I
Absolutely.
got out of it just now.
Yeah.
The very strong base, the trunk, and then
Yeah.
all the coming out. So,
And I had not realized that until you just said it. That's
but
pretty.
everyone here, I can see just from you speaking about this, how proud you feel, proud to feel that there is a lineage and, there's blood that's running through each and every person.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I feel very fortunate and very blessed. And honestly, Olivia, I had not thought about what it would be like for them to finally learn what happened to their Aunt Laura. Um, in my research, I just kept thinking, I need to find my family. I just felt that longing my whole life to find them. Well, not my whole life, but since I was a teenager, at least, I felt that longing to connect with them. It was like something was missing within me. And I knew that I had to connect with someone. I just didn't know who. So my research initially started going backwards in my grandmother's history, like who were her parents, who were their parents, where were they from? And it was in 2012 that I realized that, wait a minute, my grandmother had children and they had children. So that means her sisters had children and they had children. So I have family that's still alive. I'm looking in the wrong direction. And so that's when I changed the scope of my search to find living family members instead of just the history of my grandmother's life.
Amazing. I feel like this has been such incredible life work for you.
It
And
really has been. It really has been. And it just opened my eyes to a lot of different things in terms of us knowing our history, because sometimes we don't feel like we're really connected to the people around us. We're like, why do I do this or think this way or, have this adventurous spirit or things like that. And when you know the history of the people from which you came, then you can see yourself in them and where you got some of these characteristics about yourself.
oh, Robinette, that was so good. I got to write this down. See, this is what I mean when you listen and study Robinette. She just has a way of phrasing things. So I want to put on the screen for everybody. Can you just repeat that one sentence again?
Oh, I wish I could. They're going to have to
When
watch this video again.
when you know the history of where you come from, you have a better understanding of yourself. I think that's what it was. I'm
Yeah,
paraphrasing.
that's good enough because it narrows it down and it's accurate. You do understand more about yourself when you know the history from which you came. Just knowing the strength that my grandmother, leaving home at 15 in 1924 in the United States, that took a lot of courage to leave the safety and security, if that's what it was, to venture out into a world that wasn't very kind to people who look like her. And so, it took a lot of courage for her to do that. And by the time she gave birth to her last two children, which were twins, which was my dad, in 1940, within 4 years, her husband was deceased. And so here she was, this young woman at the age of whatever age she was at that time, with four or five young kids to support and take care of on her own in 1945. So for her to be able to not just survive, but to thrive through such circumstances as that shows me that she had tremendous strength and perseverance. And that allows me to understand that in myself, that if my grandmother could do that, I could do that as well. I can survive. I can do hard things. That's what they say. My grandmother could do it. I could do hard things too.
I mean, you have such strong role models throughout your family history, it seems like.
Yes, and before I met my family, no one had ever lived past really the age of like 75, 76, maybe. Definitely not into the 80s on my dad's side. We didn't know very many of them anyway, but the ones we did know did not live to be that old. So when I met cousin Val and cousin Becky and cousin Helen and cousin Celestine, they were all past the age of 80, and the first three were past the age of 90. So that told me, oh my God, I have longevity in my blood. I didn't know it, but I do. So cousin Val actually opened her own dress shop when she was 60 years old in Philadelphia.
You have longevity in your blood. Exactly.
Yes, absolutely.
Exactly. Oh, I love it. Well, to hear the rest of the story from Robinette, you'll have to buy the book. So
Yeah.
the book is available. That's a beautiful book cover right there. It's available this Wednesday on Amazon. We're going to have an amazing book launch party. All of you are invited. Please join us on Facebook. It's our Facebook public group. And there is a typo. We haven't gotten quite around to fixing it yet. And we're writers, right? But that's okay. But you will definitely find us. This is the correct link. And so please bookmark Wednesday. It's the winter solstice. It's December 21st at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern time. And that's where we'll have more Meet the Author segments. We might do some live excerpts and readings. And there'll be tons of fun prizes and giveaways. So you're all invited to help us on that book launch and help us to reach #1 on the Amazon bestseller list.
Awesome.
Thank you, Robinette, for your time today. This is so beautiful just going through the family photo album with you.
Thank you, Olivia. I am grateful for all that you have done to help us get to this point. So thank you. I appreciate it. And thank you all for joining us. I really appreciate that as well. Hope to see you on Wednesday for our book launch. We need the support so that we can become #1 bestsellers on Amazon. So please join in on Wednesday evening to support our book launch at 8 p.m. Eastern time, which most of you are on. If you're related to me, you are. And we look forward to seeing you there. Thank you, Alexa. And Bridget, I know you can't comment, but thank you for being on. Ursula's probably on too. Thank you all who are on to support me. I appreciate it. Love you guys.
That's what family's for, right?
That's right. That's
Awesome.
right.
Have a fantastic time with your mom and your sisters, Robinette, during this holiday season. So glad that came together.
Me too.
Sometimes spontaneity works out for us, right? And
absolutely. Well, we're manifestors, so we create whatever it is that we want. You just have to believe it and you can achieve it.
There you go. And I just have to say this because I learned this from Robinette the other day. She was asked if she was a motivational speaker, and she said, yes, I motivate myself every day.
Yes, I did.
So therefore, I am a motivational speaker.
Yes, we all are, I hope. If you're not, you need to become one because you need yourself.
Fantastic. So we'll see you on Wednesday for our book launch, and stay tuned tomorrow because we're going to continue these author chats with a few more remaining authors. And so stick around and stay tuned. Have a great night, everyone.
Bye. Thank you.